Good afternoon. The meeting of the Board of Supervisors on Friday, May 4th, 2018 will now come to order. Stephanie, will you call the roll?
Mr. Chair, may I suggest that we adjourn back into regular session, coming out of executive session? Technically, for the record, we've come out of executive session.
Mr. Anderson moves that executive session is concluded. Mr. Yarborough moved. First of all, is there any objection to concluding all deliberations and information in the executive session? Hearing none, so ordered. We will now convene the meeting of the May 4th Board of Supervisors. Stephanie, if you call the roll.
Mr. Perry?
Here.
Mr. Williams? Mr. Ballard?
Here.
Mr. Anderson?
Here.
Mr. Armentor?
Here.
Mr. Chatelain?
Here.
Ms. Duplessis? Mr. Jacobs?
Here.
Ms. Johnson? Here. Ms. Jones? Mr. Mallett?
Here.
Mr. McAllister?
Here.
Mr. McCreary?
Here.
Mr. Moore?
Here.
Ms. Werner?
Here.
Mr. Yarborough?
Here.
Chair, you have quorum.
Stephanie, thank you. We have a quorum. I wasn't listening. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to take a couple of things out of order, but Chancellor Wong, if you will, would you introduce your guest for the day?
I'd be happy to, sir. Thank you. I have two students today. Anthony Stove will lead the invocation. Come up. And leading the Pledge of Allegiance will be Kobe Harrison. Anthony is from Baton Rouge. He's a kinesiology major who will be graduating in the spring of 2019. Right? He's a transfer student, was instrumental in the Generals 2017-2018 campaign, starting in 31 games on the year, helping the Generals advance to the NAIA National Championship, the best finish in school history. Before LSU, Anthony attended Frank Phillips Community College, a 2015 graduate of Parkview Baptist. Stove was teammates with our other attendee, Kobe. Kobe, can you come up also, please? Kobe is also from Baton Rouge. He's a general business major. He will be graduating in the spring of 2019 as well. Kobe is a 3-year member of the LSU men's basketball team. In his 3 years, he has 3 conference championships and 3 national tournament appearances. Kobe routinely challenges for the General's Charge Champ, an award given yearly to the men's basketball player with the most charges taken. Gentlemen?
Good evening. I'll ask that you all please bow your head and close your eyes. Dear God, we come to you today to thank you for the blessings you have given us. We thank you for bringing us together today and allowing us to honor your name. We ask that you lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Would you please join me in saying the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberties and justice for all.
And don't be intimidated by the fact that Mr. Jacobs still thinks he can dunk over.
Couldn't dunk when I was 21.
Mr. Chairman, it's my pleasure to introduce Coach Larry Cordero. Coach, where's the coach? I don't think Larry needs introduction, but I'm going to say a few things about him. He has a long biography. I won't bore you with all of it. But Larry, the coach, is a 1998 grad of Ruston High School, was a member of the Xavier University's men's basketball team before transferring to LSU, where he earned a Bachelor of Science degree in accounting in 2002. I guess accounting has something to do with playing basketball as well. And also a master's degree of science in sports management in 2004. Larry entered his 4th season as the head coach of the LSU Generals and enjoyed unmitigated success since being named the program's first ever head coach. In 3 seasons, Larry has amassed an 86-9 record, and won at least a share of the Red River Athletic Conference regular season championship all 3 seasons, along with 2 FRAC tournament titles. On the national level, Larry has guided the Generals to the NAIA National Championship Tournament all 3 seasons, achieving the program's first trip to the Fab Four, the NAIA's National Tournament semifinals in 2017. And finally, LSU's greatest success and Larry came during the 2016-2017 season, where the Generals finished the regular season 29-0, including 18-0 in Red River Athletic Conference play. The Generals took home the conference's tournament championship with 2 more wins to make their record 31-0, entering the NAIA National Championship Tournament, where LSUA would collect 3 more wins on the team's way to the Fab Four. There's a lot more, but I'm going to stop there, Larry.
Thank you, Chancellor. I was hoping to be able to hear from Colby and Anthony a little bit more. I was thinking they were going to speak a little bit. They always get to hear from me. I was hoping to hear from them, but we'll let them off the hook right now this time. Colby, Anthony, which one wants to come up here first?
Want to say anything? Want to say anything or sing or anything?
I don't think I'm going to sing. Well, first, I'd just like to thank you all for this opportunity to be here today. And just thank you for recognizing us, especially our university. This is my first year at the university. I know it's a lot of history. Just glad to be a part of it and be recognized. Thank you all.
We're proud of you.
I don't know if I can do any better than that. Yeah, I mean, thank you for having us. I mean, thank you for all the support y'all give us, and please continue.
We're just very proud to have you guys a part of it.
Unfortunately, I won't be that short. 365 days later, it's an honor, President and the Board of Supervisors, to be here again in front of you today. You know, to be able to stand up, speak up, and my players, they always hear that. I want them to be able to go stand up and speak up in front of people like this, in front of a board. Awesome opportunity. But, you know, they're probably thinking, well, Coach, you know, they add this part of it too. Why don't you just shut up sometimes? We've done a lot at LSUA in 4 years, and the first 3 years is what Chancellor read. And let me start with a story. We lost 2 assistant coaches, both of them, because of our success we had the first 3 years leading up into this season. So I had to go out and get some fresh young blood, and one of them came from the University of Arkansas. Don't hold that against me. He's a Razorback. So I wanted to invite him down November the 11th to see what a real college football stadium looks like and a real college football team plays like. So thanks to Mr. Shotland, we had an unbelievable view, great seats. We watched the Tigers beat the Razorbacks on November the 11th, and I'll never forget it like yesterday. I'm driving home back to Alexandria with my new young assistant, and I get a text message. And I thought this guy was pretty crazy to begin with. And he said, "Good seeing you, and go win that national championship." And I guess Will Wade, he can put together top 3 recruiting classes pretty easily. But I'm like, he has the audacity after we went to the Final Four, lost 3.5 starters, lost our assistant coaches. How are we going to go back to the national championship and win it? I didn't respond for 2 weeks until it was his birthday. I said, "Happy birthday." I was speechless. I didn't know what to say to Will. It was hard to get to where we were. And, you know, credit our players for getting us back to the national championship game, a place we hadn't been. We went to the Final Four the year before. But a scripture, which was our season scripture, they stuck to. And it was Galatians 6:9. "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time you'll reap a harvest if you do not give up." We were 18-7. I think we'd lost 8 or 9 games combined 3 seasons before. And it was kind of new to LSUA. We'd lost some games, 2 at the Fort. We hadn't lost 3 seasons before in the Fort. So here we are, 18-7, making the national tournament is maybe looking bleak. And so we go on an 11-game winning streak. and they take me all the way to the national championship, and I apologize to them, to you, to our state. We had that game right in our hands, and it wasn't meant to be. We didn't win the national championship, but 3 weeks later, on my birthday, I walk into my office on a Tuesday morning, and one of our 4-year players had left me a birthday card, and to save time, I won't read it, but you know, it was touching. I've shared it with a few people and some key recruits so they can see the love in our program. And someone said, you know what, Larry, you didn't win the national championship, but you can put that letter on your trophy case, that note, and that's as good as a national championship. And it is. And one more thing, we got a letter from a lady, a mom, and 2 sons from Pennsylvania. Showed up at some fan mail. That's pretty cool, LSUA. You know, people around the country are taking attention to what we're doing. Long letter, won't read it for time's sake, but things like that is what really our program is about. We talk about winning games. That has and will always be important, but what's more important in our foundation is winning lives. And so we didn't win the national championship this year, but these guys are life champions. And Anthony and Colby and other players in our program that aren't here today for different reasons, you know, we've got 3 guys that have been there from the beginning with me for 4 years. When they graduate next Thursday, I'm going to be the lone survivor. And those guys have beat a Division I program. They won 100 games. But what really stands out to me, and I thought about this driving down this morning, is they're going to be the first graduating class to walk through the Rapides Parish Coliseum and to get a degree in 4 years. Joe from Pope John Paul, Dan from Curling's Catholic, and Jordan, a first-team All-American from Central High School. That's what LSUA basketball is about, not just winning games, but winning lives. And I'll leave you with these 2 numbers. I was calculating the other night as we're in recruiting season, 87.1 and 87.3. It was almost just too close to be true. 1 is our winning percentage, and 2 is the percentage of players on our 4 rosters that are from Louisiana. And they just happen to go together. I'm not sure which one's on top, but they're darn near 87%. Is pretty good in both categories. I just want to say thanks to you for allowing us to keep the A in LSU. I appreciate all your support.
Thank you.
Mr. Chatelain, do you have a comment?
I'm not sure I can add anything to that other than congratulations to Larry, who is engaged and set a date yet? Working on it. Gotcha. Obviously a great representative.
Stanley.
You're,
The Dunker.
yeah, the Dunker. You're a very impressive young man. You're going to go way, way far in your life. Keep the fire in your belly. You'll get it done.
We're proud of you. King?
Larry, I don't think you can dunk, can you? Larry, I don't think you can dunk, can you? But also, I'd like to congratulate Larry Clark and LSUS because we were 1 game away from playing each other in the national championship. Right. And that team, and I encourage, if an opportunity persists for your coach to come down as well, 2 outstanding programs almost colliding in the national championship and collided throughout the year.
If I may say so, they were at the playing baseball last weekend. They beat us 2 out of 3 games, but we won the conference championship. So we didn't have the pressure on to win that game series. But more importantly, the athletic director from A was going back and forth a text message to our athletic director, the basketball coach. Ours has tremendous respect for Larry and all, and to see the respect between the 2 universities that are there with the coach, the athletic director. We think what they've done is just awesome, and great coach. And I shake Larry's hand every time he comes to our campus to thank him for what he does. And I think that's really something that's really great. Is NAIA, it's not, you know, it's way different than what gets played here. But our athletes are graduating. They're there. This is it. They're done with basketball for the most part now, and it's fun to watch these coaches work with these students. It's just great. And now Eunice is starting, as you saw this morning, so we're all happy. All 3 of us right here are very happy about it. And proud.
Well said.
I could maybe add a comment. Coach, the remark about the letter placed into the trophy case really resonated, and it made me think the slogan that a picture is worth 1,000 words, but in this case, that letter, that group of words, is worth 1,000 pictures or trophies. So that'll be the great lesson learned for years to come.
Thank you guys so much. We're very, very proud of you. And if it wasn't against NCAA rules, Mr. Shuttlin would treat you all to fresh pies from Lee. but we can't. Guys, thank you all for coming and making the trip down. You were previously provided the minutes from the March 16th board meeting. Ms. Lauren Johnson moves the adoption, the approval of the minutes, and Mr. Jacobs seconds that motion. Is there any objection to the adoption of the minutes of March 16th? Hearing no objections, those minutes are approved. Before we move into personnel actions, I'd like to ask Rick Kubek to come walk up. Rick, come on up for just a second. Come on where there's a mic there, too. You all are well aware that our last two great provosts have been recruited to lead other universities, and I think that says a lot for us as well as speaking to their immense capabilities. Rick, on behalf of every one of us, you have been such a dream to work with. You've been a phenomenal provost and chief academic officer for us. We're incredibly proud of you and everything that you brought, and I think everybody on the board wanted to be able to tell you goodbye before you go and freeze yourself to death, which you're about to do. But I'd like you to just make a couple of comments and tell everybody goodbye and know how loved you are and how deeply respected you are.
Well, I quite appreciate this opportunity. As you know, it's been an honor to have an opportunity to serve with you all, to work with President Alexander, who truly is an inspiring leader for higher education. And I will always take part of Louisiana State University with me, even though if you took your finger from Baton Rouge and went as high as you can and not going to Canada, that's where I'm moving. But I also want to just say how gratifying it is as well to know that we had such a talent in Stacy Haney to be able to take over as the interim provost. I had an opportunity to work with her both as a fellow dean and also as her provost. And as I said, it is going to continue to go in the direction that we've been going under her strong leadership. So again, it is an honor that you allowed me to serve this institution and these students, because the mission that Louisiana State University stands for is truly noble. Thank you.
I would just like to remind everybody before his 3 years as provost for us, Rick was the dean of our engineering school, and when I got here, we had the monumental task, and this is really on the back of Rick, to raise $50 million in the best, nicest, largest college of engineering in the United States. And it's the largest fundraising project we had ever undertaken for the academic side of the university. And we weren't sure we'd ever get there. It seemed pretty daunting each and every day. But not only did we get there, we actually got to $55 million under Rick's tutelage and leadership in this engineering world, with so many graduates and others that supported, and it was outstanding. It was one of the first, not just for the university, but having so much corporate giving that gave to that new facility that our students enjoy each and every day. So you can look back every time that you come to campus on that phenomenal facility that leads the nation now in engineering science and computer science as the best facility in the United States. That's a pretty good thing to leave behind, Rick. Good luck at Michigan Tech.
All right, Stacy, feel free to raise $50 million each quarter in your spare
No worries,
time.
no worries.
All right, let's see what we've got here next. Personnel actions requiring board approval. We're moving to item number 4. You've got a set of personnel actions before you. Are there any questions, observations, or thoughts from any of the board members before we consider a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second. Mr. Chatelain moves that we approve. Mr. McCollister seconds. Is there any objection to the adoption of that motion? Hearing no objection, the motion is adopted. We'll now move to the advisor reports. We don't have, do we have a staff advisor report? Hey, welcome. Come on, come up. We've missed Michelle. We've missed a couple of staff advisor reports. It's nice to have you here.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I don't think I've reported since October, so we have a few things to share updates on.
You missed some scintillating board meetings.
I'm sure I did. Okay, so the first update I wanted to share with you guys is a follow-up to something I mentioned in October. The Council of Staff Advisors actually voted in March to make some changes to PM 37, and so those are going to be coming to you shortly. They've been sent to Dr. Durati, and hopefully will come to you for either the next meeting or the July meeting. We basically changed the leadership for this group so that the leadership would rotate amongst all the campuses so that we could share in governing that group. So the primary representative would serve as the chair. The alternative representative would serve as the vice chair. We recommended to remove this secretary position on the council because the council is supported by the Staff Senate Administrative Coordinator on the main campus. And that hopefully will come to y'all very soon for approval. For our main campus, we have a couple of updates. In September, the LSU Staff Senate recommended changes to our own constitution. The changes clarified activities that members would be released from normal work duties without loss of pay or other benefits to attend, including the official Staff Senate Executive Committee meetings, standing or ad hoc committee meetings, as well as university committees with liaison groups dealing with items of concern to LSU. These changes were approved by an LSU staff vote last month with 626 in favor, which is about 97%, and 17 against, with 643 total voting. So one of the reasons that we made this change is we learned that some of our staff senators were being asked to take leave for official committee meetings, and so we wanted to make sure that this is something that we put forth to the university to approve, so that is definitely something that they're released from work duties for. We talked about a lactation policy that our staff senate was going to be recommending for this year. In my October meeting, I shared a little bit about that. We actually approved it at our October meeting. Faculty Senate has also approved a resolution to support the creation of a lactation policy. This would provide employers with the reasonable break time and place that is private for the employee. And a draft of the policy will be submitted to HRM, the provost, and the president next week. Dr. McMillan has talked about some of our joint initiatives, so I wanted to give you some updates on that. We are working on a mentoring program with HRM and Faculty Senate. This program is still in the developmental phases. A draft was submitted to the subcommittees April 16th, and so they are currently discussing those and putting some finishing touches on. Hopefully we'll share more about that in the next meeting. The parental leave policy was submitted to the provost office and the president's office on March 15th, and so we're waiting to see some updates on that. We also have a joint initiative with student government. The first one that we've done ever is a staff appreciation week, and so that happened in April. It included some discounts from local businesses for staff, a staff night at Alex Fox with about 190 bowls of jambalaya served by Campus Federal, who was our partner for that event, and introduction with staff senators on the field. Student government also paid for a Reveille ad to thank staff publicly for all that they do for the students at LSU. We had new employee receptions with over 150 RSVPs for the morning and over 50 for the evening. And then student government hosted a tour of Tiger Stadium for 52 staff who signed up to go on the tour. One other initiative that we're always working on is helping staff to advance their education. Some of our senators have been working with the provost office to bring back the 25 Plus program, which is a special non-degree admission for adult students. That program is now in the LSU catalog online, so we're excited about that. Currently we have about 145 employees, staff, that are enrolled in coursework this semester. Those are the ones who are receiving the tuition exemption from LSU. There are 11 graduating this May, 3 of which are getting bachelor's degrees, 7 are getting master's degrees, and 1 with a PhD. Staff Senate also provides scholarship to LSU staff members furthering their education. This year we presented 8 scholarships to staff, 2 undergraduates per semester, 2 grad students per semester, and then 2 of the staff dependents also got scholarships this year. Our scholarships are funded through candygram sales each semester and also donations from staff. The profits from candygrams this year were $1,229.74, with 805 candygrams being sold. We also did a couple give back nights to increase some of the funds available for staff scholarships, with $366.74 raised from those two give back nights. So just a couple updates from us. We'll be back soon. Any questions?
Any questions? Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much.
Although Ronnie is still having withdrawals from the soft, dulcet tones of Dr. Cope's reports, Ken, we are delighted to welcome you back again. Give us a faculty perspective on things. Ken, good to see you.
Just saying. I'll say thank you very much. When August rolls around and I'm back here because I got reelected as president, then you might not have the same impression. I also want to thank the board, particularly the retiring members, and the best that I can say is the same as Mr. Armenter did. Good job, and we'll miss you. And so in that regard, I speak for the faculty in saying that. Personally, I send my regrets for not being able to make the dinner last night and hear the accolades for all the successes that you all have contributed to LSU, because without your leadership, we don't go a lot of places. I appreciate Dr. Kubek. Obviously, we've worked closely together this last year, and a lot of the initiatives at campus have been because of his benefit or because of his contribution, but realistically, unless things are set into motion at the top, things don't happen down below. So we're very appreciative. So we are very appreciative to Dr. Kubek. We're sorry that he is leaving, but he has set things in place so that we can continue on, and hopefully we won't miss him too much. Another person who's leaving, who's contributed a lot to the university and hopefully is leaving us a legacy, is also Robert Doulis, our registrar, who will be retiring. And hopefully he has got things set into place that will have the right computer enterprise management system for our admissions, retention, transcripts, and everything else, so that we won't miss him. So we do have everything in the right place. Michelle has mentioned a lot of the joint efforts that we had with staff and faculty senate, so I won't go into those. Not everything is always joyous in Tigerland, though, as you all are aware. Stuart Lockett, the new student body president, and I met, and we understand that there are some faculty and some students who are, I guess the word is, upset with the commencement speaker that we selected, but we decided that he is a good choice and that we need to support President's office in doing that. We've also recommended that we actually expand our commencement exercises committee so that we can encompass even more things that have to do with commencement, such as student recognition and those type things. I will be back next fall. We believe that there probably should be, with our tight budgets, we know they're still going to be tight. Even if we have a standstill budget, we're going to be back and request that you all take another look at how athletics reimburses the main campus for some of the costs that we have, primarily when it comes out in the paper that they can afford to hire 10 analysts at a little over $500,000, when they can redo the stadium turf, go down 8 feet for $2 million. We think that there's money in the athletic department that could also be, we need to examine the costs to the major university, our landscaping and everything on game days. So we'll be coming back asking for that. On a high note, because I don't want to leave on a sour note, the high note is we have a new student body president, new student government president. As I've said, Stuart Lockett is going to take us places. He is an outstanding young man. How he rose to that position is pretty obvious once you meet him. I hope you do get the opportunity to do that. And with that, I'll close and ask for any questions that you have. But between student body president, me, and our new staff senate president, and the organizations that we've got working, if we don't get it done under the strategic plan and the campus master planning, it's on us. So thank you very much.
Any questions of Dr. McMillan?
And
Again, thank you for your
and I
report,
do-
and Michelle, you for your report, and also, what a university is about is differences in perspectives and opinions and thoughts, and thank you for very elegantly expressing those on behalf of the faculty. We hope you always will do that when you come to the board.
I will, and I'm going to apologize in advance because I'm leaving to go give an exam, so.
Good. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
Dr. Alexander, President's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will start normally with, I guess, a legislative update, but I think everybody knows that we're still about where we were. We're fighting to support the governor's budget and to make sure that higher education is held whole, as well as TOPS being held whole, without changes necessarily to TOPS, because it's not a time to be tinkering around with the TOPS that our students need and our students deserve and the ones they expected. Also, along with the budget, we want to make sure that our medical schools, this is a big issue for most of us, and for those that don't know, if left unaddressed, we'll have 1,300 residents that will need to find hospitals to practice, and then the pressure will become on us, actually is on us, to send those 1,300 in most cases to other states, of which we would have to pay for. So the cost of not doing anything, the cost of leaving things like it is dramatic. It's dramatic not only to our institution, which I don't think we could even find the funds to do such a thing, which would be a first in American history. But number two, it would be devastating for healthcare, the future of healthcare in Louisiana, because we basically escort the next generation of medical professionals out of the state, of which if only a handful of them would probably come back under the circumstances. So we will continue to work daily and update everybody daily on the progress that our state legislature is making, and certainly we want to help the governor protect higher education, protect our medical schools, protect our hospital partners, as well as the higher TOPS and the overall higher education budget. Just a sort of Chancellor Guiley, can you just give everybody a quick update on progress real fast on our partnership and with Ochsner?
Yes, President Alexander. It's progressing very, very well. We are very hopeful that by July 1st, we'll have the new partners in place to be running the hospitals in both Shreveport and Monroe. So it's progressing very, very well.
Great. And that progress is hopefully culminating soon, which would be wonderful as we continue to work together. So we appreciate
Yes,
the work of Warner Thomas and Ochsner and their work and the continued trust that we have with each other as we go forward. Vice President Bill Richardson, would you please comment on medical marijuana and our mitigation bank progress?
Mr. President, Mr. Perry, and members of the board, kind of bring you up to date on the therapeutic cannabis program. We have selected a 36,000 square foot warehouse. It's off of Highland Road. It's, for those of you who moved that area, it's the old Pepsi building, and it'll be the primary production facility. The facility will also house a 6,000 square foot research facility for the LSU Ag Center for our scientists and their scientists to interact in terms of the work we'll be doing with this particular plant. We received the city parish permit for factory renovation on April 5th, and so that began the next day. Construction is done immediately. We hope to have that part of the building done in September. GB Sciences, our contractor, will utilize a mobile modular clean room for cultivation and production immediately. As soon as we get this started, they'll be allowed us to start small-scale production operation before the renovation of the entire building is complete. All of this is subject to all the Louisiana Department of Agriculture and Forestry approvals, as they have the oversight and the rules of governing this particular industry. We anticipate having product available in the pharmacies in late September, with a larger inventory ready in January of 2019. In the legislature this year, there was a lot of activity on different aspects of the medical marijuana industry. A lot of it dealt with the dispensaries, but the parts that dealt specifically with our operation was some of the bills related to increasing the number of disease states and the sunset provision in the legislation. It passed out of the House to include and move the fund sunset from 2020 out 5 more years, which makes all of our investors a lot more comfortable with the knowing where that's going. For your personal information, they proposed increasing the disease states to include autism, glaucoma, Parkinson's disease, severe muscle spasms, intractable pain, PTSD. Mr. Chatelain, they did not put bank president stress in there as one of those. We're continuing to monitor all of this, both. I think that was a special request somebody made. We're continuing to monitor all this for the potential impact both at the state and to federal level. One of the major issues we did have as we worked through this, we knew we would have from the very beginning, was the whole banking issue, and that has been resolved, and Chase has agreed to bank the money for us, and so we're excited, and so now it's just a matter of continuing to work through the process. And I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have. I briefed you, I think, at the last meeting, maybe the meeting before, about mitigation banking. We have a large piece of property in St. Gabriel next to the river. We actually have a large river frontage. As we've downsized our program, especially in animal sciences over the years, we have about 1,000 acres there that was formerly pasture land that qualifies to go into a mitigation bank. We're also in one of the most needed watersheds in the area, so the mitigation banking is an opportunity for us, holds great opportunity for us. And as a board, you still retain ownership of the property. We just can't farm it, we can't graze it, and we'll actually own the trees that are on it. So it looked like something I thought would be very good for the board to consider. We're seeking an entity or team of entities to finance and design, construct, create, enhance, and operate and maintain the bank. We think there'll be a lot of interest, and most of the property in that area is already in a mitigation bank, and it backs up to Spanish Lake, so under the prison on one side. We've been working closely with procurement to make sure all aspects of this program are covered. It is a very complicated process. Taylor Porter has been intimately involved in the development of the process. They have a specialist there that deals with mitigation banking, and his expertise has been fantastic. Solicitation offers will be released on May 15th. I got to have a date at some point, May 15th, and so we'll have that out before your next meeting. We'll include property in Individual Parish containing 818 acres of pasture and woodlands. The big thing about this for us, in addition to the banking and a potential income stream, is it becomes a 800 outdoor biological laboratory for our students. The educational programs there that we can do starting from scratch is phenomenal. Respondents will propose all phases of mitigation, propose to do the phases in mitigation in phases, I'm trying to say. All proposals will be approved by the Corps of Engineers. That is a major hurdle we'll go through, and we already started some preliminary work with the engineers in terms of what we would be doing. Final selection proposals require close collaboration with the Ag Center for implementation of the property enhancement plan. All cost of implementation and enhancement plan will be responsibility of the selected entity. The process allows unique opportunity for the university to generate funds and improve research and teaching opportunities. SFO will be released on May 15th. We'll hold a mandatory site visit on May 22nd. Final selection will be made on or before September 30th. Once released, we intend to bring a resolution to your authorization, to you authorizing the president to act on behalf of the board since your next board meeting, if we don't make the June 22nd, will be in September. And so that kind of gives you an update. We can make a more formal presentation if you like later on with the property, but it's something I think would be a great way for us to protect that for the long term, and the income stream would be very helpful. I will be asking for permission to restrict those funds so that we don't spend the corpus of what we're raising and use the interest off of that then to support the teaching and research programs with our students. With that, I'll be glad to try to answer any questions you may have.
Dr. Richardson, if I may, going back to the medical marijuana, I know there was an article recently about the seems to be a hesitation of physicians to want to get involved directly with it because of the federal aspects of it still being termed not legal or whatever that technically is. Do you have any more insight on that?
No, we've been monitoring that. That's kind of governed through the Board of Medical Examiners. What advice we're getting is that that's going to continue to increase as patients go to their doctors and ask about it. So we expect that the way to nobody want to be the first ones out there to do it, but I think the number is increasing, and we expect it to increase dramatically. I've always predicted we'd have 1,400 patients the first year, and so that's what I'm sticking with that.
Dr. Richardson, can you comment on the future of the research wing of medical marijuana?
the
future of research into medical marijuana.
Okay. What we're doing, there'll be a couple of things, Mr. Armitage. The main thing we're looking at now is still a lot of unknown compounds inside the marijuana plant. The two that get all the attention is THC, which is the high drug, and CBD, which is being used to treat kids with seizures, cancer patients, and so forth. CBD is actually what makes you hungry. What we'll be able to do, working with this company, is take...
I wouldn't know.
Oh, I wouldn't. I'm just... that's what I was told, too. But what we're finding is that we can go through and genetically modify those plants to produce the compounds we want to produce, decreasing the compounds we don't want. For example, if you're a mother with a 5-year-old kid with seizures, I want to be able to tell them that you got almost no THC in what they're doing. They've got CBD, and that's what they'll be. So we'll be able to do some things there. Plus, we can control the contaminants. So a lot of the research is same thing we're doing now with sweet potatoes and rice and sugarcane and other things. Is genetic manipulation to express the genes, express compounds of plants we want them to express. And there'll be some work to be done, and that's why we've talked with the 2 medical schools in Pennington. There's going to be some clinical work being done because we still don't know, a lot of information out there, what dosage rates, what things the docs are going to recommend, and there'll have to be some clinical work. What appears to will treat one kid with seizures may not treat the next one, just like most any of us. So there's a lot of that type of research going on beyond just the plant science part of it. But in our facility out there, we'll be strictly dealing with the plant science work.
It turns out that marijuana has great medical tendencies and capabilities that nobody expected.
It appears that way. The Israelis are 15 years ahead of us in some of the things they're doing with it over there. So worldwide it's growing, and we're actually taking some people to the Czech Republic this summer to visit some therapeutical plant laboratories over there to see what they're doing. I think there's a lot more we need to learn about this.
And are you satisfied with the activities and work of our business partner?
I couldn't be happier. They paid on time and the check's cleared.
Both as to production and as to science?
Yes. Oh, the science part, I don't know if I mentioned this in a previous meeting. I went out to Vegas after we had that group selected, went through their laboratory that they were doing in the research side of this. And I was totally impressed with the scientific work they were doing with tissue culture and getting away from just propagation of plants, how they were dealing with nutrient use. There was not a single drop of water leaving that facility. They were recycling everything. They got their nutrient costs down to where they weren't just throwing lots of fertilizer on these things. They could control the stuff. There are scientists who now has relocated here and will be part of our research program here. We'll be bringing in tissue culture with some of the strains they've developed. So we'll be years down the road by working with a company that's got this far-reaching research program. So I was extraordinarily impressed with that part of it.
Great. I know that's one of the big reasons we selected them.
We were very excited to get them. They have a proven track record, and I think that they're going to really do a good job for us. So far, the meetings I've had with them from the scientific perspective have been just solid as a rock. My scientists are impressed with their scientists.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Dr. Richardson, I'd just like again to applaud your efforts, you and Dr. Alexander, on the mitigation. The innovative use of LSU resources, the stewardship of the property, allowing the students continue to use it, but at the same time, maximizing the potential for whatever we might have ahead for LSU. But particularly, I think it's important on the track of what you talked about of this is a one-shot opportunity to be able to maximize that, and I know we will as far as the resources, and then being able to secure those as a legacy project that can provide resources for LSU and ag for many years to come. So I know this board will do the right thing in getting us the best possible deal, and benefiting it from many years ahead.
As we did the marijuana program, this will be transparent, above board, be done right. We only get one shot at this to do it. And then when it comes time to negotiating, I don't plan to leave any money on the table.
Mr. Anderson.
2 things. I have to agree with Rolf on the mitigation property down there. It's a real opportunity for students to be able to do research with forestry and wildlife and all the other stuff besides the income chain. It's potential that's there, and it will be, because that's something that's in really high demand. The other thing is medical marijuana. I've had some people ask me about why LSU is in the medical marijuana business. Well, it was a mandate or a request from the legislature that got us into that. It appears that some people outside of the legislature and inside of the legislature have forgotten that they asked us to do that. So it wasn't that we went out and solicited the idea of getting in this business. It was a mandate that we were given. And I think they're doing a great job with it.
I remember when Bill approached me in the Capitol and said, "This is what's going forward one day," and it was later that day. And what do you want to do? And we both agreed. We said, "Heck no."
Yeah, we got a 15-minute notice on that, and then got overruled. I do want to give you two pieces of information. Hampton Grunwald, who's our governmental affairs person, basically devoted his life the last 2 years to this project. I really don't know where we would be without him and his attitude toward making sure it was done right. And about a year ago, we hired Dr. Ashley Mullins to run that program specifically. They have done a phenomenal job, and I hope to bring them back to the board at some point so you can thank them, because this has so many potentials to be not good, as we're seeing in the press a little bit, but those two folks have determined to make it right, and they've worked their tails off, and I'm really proud of them.
Thank you, Bill. Ms. Stewart, would you please come forward and introduce our new addition to our Title IX office with regard to investigations? We were questioned yesterday in the Senate Finance as if we haven't. Well, it really wasn't as if we haven't. It's just they wanted to know what we have been doing to address this important issue, because they're mandating a lot of things at state government level. And they've asked us to demonstrate to them our commitment to the Title IX sexual harassment issue, which permeated about 45 minutes of the discussion yesterday. But if you'd introduce our new addition to our Title IX task force.
Certainly. I'm pleased to introduce you. Last time I had made an announcement that Mr. Jeff Scott would be joining our staff. He's been here, I guess, just shy of 6 weeks as of our last meeting. So we're pleased to have him on staff. He's handling all of the civil rights investigations related to PM 73 on all campuses. So he is serving for us in every capacity. He has made visits to Shreveport, Eunice, Alexandria, as well as Baton Rouge, and will be making the full rounds later. So, Mr. Jeff Scott.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here at LSU. I've been looking forward to working with Jenny and getting the program up and running and getting it more centralized, and I look forward to working with everybody, and I'm here to serve at your pleasure, and hopefully everything will work out well, and we'll do a great job.
Jeff, you just tell about where you're from. Baltimore County Schools.
Yeah, I came here from Baltimore County Public Schools. I served there as internal investigator doing Title IX work and employee misconduct. I'm originally from Virginia, so back down into the South, even though some people don't consider Virginia South, but we are south. We are south of the Mason-Dixon line, so I think that counts.
All right, thank you, Jeff. I'd like to also recognize something very special. Gabby Gonzalez, our faculty member with LIGO that was part of the Nobel Peace Prize and has been the spokesperson that has been recognized all over the United States and the world, is LSU's newest inductee to the National Academy of Sciences. Inducted this past weekend at our annual conference, Gabby is only the second LSU faculty member to be inducted into the National Academy of Science. The other is Ward Plummer, and they're both currently, Ward is still with us at LSU. But we want to recognize the significance of being inducted into the National Academy of Science. Recap, I want to thank everybody for LSU Day on the Hill. That was perhaps our most forceful day that we have spent on the Hill. We've never had so many, actually, that was the largest board member turnout. Students were great, faculty were there, our docs were there with the health programs. And if you just run this quick clip of the success of the day, and then we'll move to the next. You'd be pleased to know that LSU ranks among the best public university values in the United States, as stated this morning by Forbes magazine.
appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit of the festivities on LSU Day with people who believe in the state of Louisiana and Louisiana State University.
Nearly 50% of cancers can be prevented or detected early and cured. And that's really what our mission is for Louisiana.
It's so wonderful to always have LSU come to the Capitol because they bring not only amenities, but they bring their people. And it's always good to meet the people from LSU.
That tunnel you saw is our actual move around blow up colon that people can walk through. But it had a lot of traffic actually. But it was a great day for us, and hopefully it made an impression and showed the significance and the power when one LSU shows up, including always the great hit, our Ag Center ice cream, which is always a big hit. Also, I'd like to point out we had a big ribbon cutting a couple weeks ago. It was our college engineering ribbon cutting. It was a fantastic event for those who didn't get a chance to attend. We just got a couple videos of this ribbon cutting and how successful, with so many donors that came back to us to help build this $110 million facility. If you haven't had an opportunity to go in that facility, it really is something to marvel at. And just think of how thousands of students that get to spend, and faculty get to spend each and every day in that building, and staff. Some other, I think, very important good news that I want to remind everybody of, the research that we do, that we conduct each and every day. In our latest research ranking, just to share with everybody, we don't talk enough about it, but when we combine the efforts of LSU, when we combine our efforts of the main campus, the Ag Center, Pennington, our medical centers, and others, of public universities, we're in the top 50 in terms of our public generation of research and R&D expenditures. And we need to take advantage of this and grow. And we're 5th in the SEC with $357 million generated each and every year. And to put that in perspective, $357 million brought to this state by LSU. We only get about $200 million from the state, and that's all of these institutions combined. That's nearly double what we're generating in research-related activities that are spent right here in this state. Now, if we're not generating those resources, Ohio State is. UCLA is, Georgia is, Florida is, other institutions will generate those same dollars. So the competitiveness of our faculty needs to continue to improve and grow and succeed, and our ability to help them succeed needs to continue. So we are indeed a top 50 public university with regard to research. Another area, our campaign continues to grow. This could be one of the biggest, if not the biggest year in philanthropy. Our campaign could break. We were measuring about 5 years ago. We were 30 to 40 million a year this year. The main campus could break $100 million overall. We're looking at a potential of almost breaking $200 million this year. So our campaign, our quiet phase of our campaign moves forward, and within the year, we're looking very much forward to having a public announcement on our campaign as we well surpass the midway point of what we deem to be ultimately about a $1.5 billion campaign, more than twice what we did in 2011. And finally, as important as research is to solving all the problems of the state, I'm pleased to announce our expected enrollments this coming fall at LSUA are 5% up, LSUE are 12% up. Our freshmen and transfers at LSU at students are up again at LSUS, roughly 5 to 10% and possibly more. On the A&M campus, I've sent many an email, but we're looking at possible 21% gains, the largest freshman class in the history of the university that we're on the edge of if we just reel them in at orientation as they come in. And that includes a 15% gain from Louisiana students, an 80% gain from Georgia students, 123% gain from Florida students, a 223% gain from California students, 84% gain across the border in Texas, and a 31% gain from students from Alabama. And finally, next week, we will graduate a record number of students, and that's a real credit to the faculty and staff, and because we really haven't done it with any new money. And we're going to have a record graduation. LSUA is expecting a 10% record-setting year. LSUE, 14% increase over the previous year. LSUS, the first time to graduate more than 1,000 students in the history of LSUS, up 10%. And on the main campus, the overall graduation numbers will surpass any that we have seen before. The Asian American student population will be the largest graduating class. The African American graduating class will be the largest. The Hispanic graduating class will be the largest. The male graduating class will be the largest. The veterans graduating class will be the largest. And the Tops and Pelican Promise graduating class will be the largest in our history. And the reason I didn't mention females is because they've been setting records for the last 3 years, and they've set a very high bar for everybody else to follow. But I'd like to thank all the faculty and staff that have worked so hard on all of our campuses to both say that we're growing in enrollment next year, which was a concern from the Senate Finance yesterday, but also a concern of everybody's is, are we finishing, are we retaining and graduating our students? Answer is yes. Yes, in numbers that we've never seen before. So I'd like to thank everybody and thank the support of the board for all of our campuses as we continue to grow and also graduate students. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Any questions of the President on this report? Yes. We'll now invoke the Anderson rule.
Mr. Chair, I do have a
oh,
question.
sorry, Glenn.
King, I'm just concerned because the numbers are so good, they look so good, and we're all so proud of them, that the legislature could take that the wrong way. Understand what I'm saying?
Oh, I do.
Did you feel any of that in the committee yesterday?
I didn't. In fact, from the Senate Finance, I felt nothing but a lot of support in solving this budget. And in fact, as I was sitting there with the other three, the system heads from around the state, they know we're out punching our weight. They know it. They know we're overperforming. They didn't ask us for greater performance once. What they did is they said that we need to help fund what's working, and we're working. And the other higher education institutions, they don't have as comparable numbers, but they're succeeding in ways that they haven't succeeded before. And we had complete support, not one negative question from Senate Finance at all. It's just we need to do a better job and not be 50th or 48th in funding of higher education.
Yeah, the numbers are wonderful. I just don't want the legislature to take it the wrong way.
Well, they can't knock us down any more than being 48th or 50th in the United States. And right now we're funded at our 1991 funding level. We requested from them to be bold and get us to our 1995 funding level.
Unbelievable.
King, our scholarship changes have made an impact on the university.
Without a doubt. Our scholarship changes put us right back in the fight in every one of these states from New Jersey to California to Illinois, and our numbers are showing it left and right. And our brand is strong. We're not competitive for students. We just didn't pay much attention to the competitive environment that's out there when it comes to out-of-state students, as well as many of our in-state students that are getting other in-state offers as well. What the changes the board made are highly significant in these numbers and what we're seeing in this substantial turnaround. I mean, we're the talk of the SEC right now. And I was joking with our recruitment crew the other day, and and Jose Aviles and Dan and all of them. I said, we've jumped so quickly above everybody this year that they're going to turn us into the NCAA, and which the NCAA doesn't monitor enrollment. They didn't laugh until I explained it to them either. The NCAA has nothing to do with your enrollment. It's just athletics.
It's an SREB violation.
No, but we got Mississippi State wondering, Auburn wondering, what has LSU done to become so aggressive, and especially getting kids out of their backyard. And these numbers are extraordinary, and the progress that our campuses are making. I've never seen such collective, consistent growth on behalf of all of our campuses, but the main campus certainly has turned around, and Jose Aviles and a lot of people deserve a lot of credit for becoming the aggressor instead of just being complacent about the environment that we're living in.
Great. Terrific numbers. Thank you.
They really are. I'll now entertain a single in globo motion to adopt and approve all of the positive committee actions taken this morning. Mr. Ballard moves the adoption, and Mr. Mallett seconds. Is there any objection to the adoption of the positive actions of all of the committees this morning? Hearing no objection, so ordered. So in a tradition, I'll ask Ms. Lauren Johnson to walk with me right down here. This is Lauren's last board meeting, and it has been amazing kind of watching her grow and develop over the course of this year. Jason, do you have, Jason, you awake in there?
He's coming.
Look at it.
You go, girl.
Lauren, a great resolution. It's been a joy, I think, for everybody to get to know you this year and to have you here bringing just such a fresh and different perspective. And I want to read this resolution from the board. A resolution of appreciation to Ms. Lauren Johnson for her service as a student board member for the 2017-2018 academic year. Whereas Ms. Lauren Johnson, student body president of Louisiana State University at Eunice, was elected by the LSU Council of Student Body Presidents as the student member of the Board of Supervisors of LSU for the 2017-18 academic year. Whereas Ms. Johnson has served as an outstanding supervisor representing the student voice and perspective on matters for board consideration, and whereas Ms. Johnson has served with distinction as the chair of the LSU Council of Student Body Presidents, providing leadership on behalf of every LSU campus, including meeting with the Department of Education in Washington, D.C. and the Louisiana legislature to advocate on behalf of student interests. And whereas Ms. Johnson undertook many initiatives for the betterment of the LSU community during her time in office, including establishing LSU's first university-sanctioned homecoming, the creation of a student lounge in the Acadian Center, planning and implementing the return of the long-standing tradition of the Miss LSU pageant, and recruiting over 60 students to run for an SGA legislative office. Whereas her numerous contributions have earned Ms. Johnson the respect and admiration of her colleagues on the board, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors of Louisiana State University and Agricultural and Mechanical College commends Ms. Lauren Johnson for her service on this board and wishes her great success in her future endeavors. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be presented to Ms. Johnson as an expression of gratitude, and that this resolution be entered into the permanent record of the Board of Supervisors. Come on, Grandma, come in. You should be very, very proud.
Great job.
All right, we got one more little piece of business, and we'll get you all, you guys, I told you all 2:30. We're gonna make it.
11 minutes.
Mr. Anderson promised, you make his promise.
Be careful.
So in addition to Lauren, this is always the awkward time of the year for everyone because, you know, you've got, and it's particularly, I think, so this year because we have so many appointments that are coming up, and always some come back and some move on. And one of the things that this board has always been known for.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go.
No, I'm soft. I didn't mean to cry, but thank you so much. And express everything each of you have given me. I guess I should. Y'all are all great people, and I've learned so much throughout this year with y'all. On St. Patrick's Day of last year, I saw Miss Doreen Grasso, and I said, "Is this open to the public?" And I know I idea that I'd be sitting with you all 1 year later, actually 2 months from that exact date. So, wow, it's crazy. I was a nursing major and now I'm pre-law. Thank you all so much. Forever be in my heart.
What else am I messing up here, Jason? I'm good? You want to speak at all? Because you haven't had a chance at all today. You sure? Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
So this is, this is the time of the year where it is so hard. And we've had someone I think about Rolf in particular. Rolf and I have been on the LSU campus since high school together. Rolf's, of course, way older than me, but I always looked up to him. And Rolf, as everybody has said, it has been just an absolute pleasure to serve with you. I mean, your attention, particularly on the capital and facilities issues and the academic and the research issues. There's been a lot of accomplishments, and you should be very, very proud.
In my honor.
And you and our other aggressive Democratic activists, Representative McCrary, we were talking in the back about what a pleasure it's been with Jim. I mean, one of the truly grand and elegant statesmen we had in Washington for so many years. A very principled conservative voice who worked with everyone, and it was a pleasure to have you here. And you've stewarded almost, you and King, this Shreveport transformation almost to the finish line. So, job well done. You, I'm not even going to talk about the other guys because some of the other guys I think might even be coming back. We don't know yet. You know, you never know what the governor is going to do. But I do want to say this. It has been such a pleasure with, I think, Lee's term is up for renewal this year. Stanley Jacobs. Stanley's been on the board since 1966. Right after he graduated, and it was part of the first team to beat Kentucky. But guys, it's, one thing that has been wonderful is the fact that on this board, and I think it was the first thing Blake said to me, no one has ever talked about being Democrats or Republicans when they serve on the board. We all bring different perspectives and different philosophies, but the one philosophy that is absolutely unifying is the powerful belief in post-secondary education and the role that it plays in forging our lives in the future, but especially re-emphasizing the fact that there is a place and a magnificent role for a flagship. And so we've all been able to unite and be good partners, and everyone has played a tremendous role in all that. My esteemed colleague from the North Shore, Scott Ballard, of course, who when you cut Scott, it starts purple and gold, and then it goes green the farther that you get down. But I can't imagine, there hasn't been a better board member to serve with ever. Scott, you have been, I think, a treasure for all of us, and such just a powerful voice of reason. You, Lee, Stanley, Rolf, and Jim, whatever happens on the appointments, we care about you a lot. We've benefited unbelievably from your thoughts and your wisdom, your work on committees and chair work over the years, and thank you guys from the bottom of all of our hearts. And I'll let King.
Well, this is a tough day for a tough loss. Hopefully, not many of you, and we wouldn't have gotten here without you. And if you remember, you made some pretty big moves to basically eliminate the system office that we have to create one LSU. And as you can see with the success of each of our institutions, and if you could hear in the Senate Finance, they look at us as the model of where they want everybody else to go. In consolidation and working together and utilizing procurement, risk management, helping and working together on student recruitment and making sure that that any student in Louisiana has a shot at one of our LSU institutions. And that is remarkable that we've been able to do this, and to do it under your leadership. It was your vision. Many of you that took a big stand under some tough circumstances to create what we have now. And we have great momentum now. All of our campuses are moving forward. We have faith that this budget's going to work out, and certainly the governor will not sign anything that doesn't work out. And so without all that support and without your vision to make this happen, we wouldn't be where we are today. So with the potential of losing 5, 2, 3, who knows? It's a big loss for the institution, but this institution is a much, much, much stronger place, as you can hear by those numbers that I just read off a few minutes ago. Thank you to all of you for being so true to what we were trying to get accomplished here.
Any thoughts, you guys? Scotty? Anything you want to say? Jim?
Well, as we said yesterday and at our dinner, it's obviously a high honor, and Stanley Jacobs said it well when he said it's the highest honor that LSU can give, and he's absolutely right. And it's, you know, I have a lot of pride for myself, and that I do believe, like King said, we're leaving here having improved such a great place. And I think that every board member here, future and present, will continue to do that, and that's ultimately the thing we should all do. We're all busy and in our own right, have had successes, and have been blessed with family and business success. But ultimately, we do this for the love of LSU, for the love of our students, and for the love of this wonderful state. And so regardless of what happens, we do this for that reason. We can all stay busy, and we will all fill our bowls with something, but I will forever be grateful for not only serving as chair, but being a small part to some of these great successes. So thank you.
And I'd be remiss without saying that PJ's Coffee is now currently available in the countries of Kuwait and Vietnam, additionally to here in. Right.
Steve.
Jim, would you like to? I'm sorry, Stanley, you want to go next?
Just an observation. I have been on the board a long time, and I've served
66.
Served
and Regents too, right?
During and after. When we had an identifiable stream of income dedicated to higher ed and hospitals, we were at the SREB average, and it was a lot more rewarding for the university, even for this board. We're absolutely operating on a Band-Aid theory, and every year we go back, you know, another Band-Aid. Until we solve the problem, it's going to be difficult. And there's some scenarios out there which we're all familiar with when King mentioned about the interns trying to place them, and you could just go on and on and on. You could just, it's got to be solved. And we just can't keep operating year after year after year after year, just trying to patch it together.
It's a good reminder. This is a never-ending battle for all of us. Rolf,
I just want to, again, I said last night, it was an honor to serve with everyone on this board, but I mainly want to just thank all those people who don't necessarily get the credit, get to sit up here, to King and all of his staff, you know, to all those, the chancellors, the staff, Jason and Doreen before him, Stephanie. I mean, they make our life a lot easier, and they're the ones that are here every day. So I just want to publicly thank them for putting up with me. And I've enjoyed it, and it's been an honor to serve our state and all the students out there. You know, it's just, there's nothing like LSU. And as you said, I spent a lot of time. In fact, the greatest gift I've got is my wife, who I got at LSU. So, you know, I met as a freshman. And so, you know, it's I miss it. And, you know, but that's one thing you gain out of serving is some great friends for life. So, again, thank you all, and look forward to seeing you in the future. Go Tigers.
Lee?
Yo, it's been a good 6 years. I've met a lot of people that I'll always remember too.
I can't say much after everything them three have said, or four, but serving here is a great honor. It's the most sought-after board appointment in the whole state, and so when you get to serve, makes you feel good about yourself. But meeting all of y'all has really been a great moment in time for me, and thank you all for being who y'all are. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Lee, so much. And Congressman, we'll finish with you.
Thank you. It's been an honor to serve LSU. It's been an even greater honor to serve with such distinguished people. I'm deadly serious. This group of people is among the finest that I've run across in my 68 years on this earth. So thank you all for being such good stewards of LSU and such good friends for me and my new wife, Jana, who, as I said last night, our courtship consisted largely of LSU football games and board meetings and board dinners, and you all were so kind to both of us during that whole time that we both appreciate it very, very much.
Any other comments from a board member?
Stephen?
Oh, Mary. Well, I forgot that you were just in the Mary.
Unless you know something I don't know.
I don't.
Mr. Chairman.
I hadn't even thought about that as a possibility, so no, absolutely.
So my service has been a very short 11 months, and I do hope that I will be returning. But in the case that, things don't go that way, I want to thank you all for the welcome, the opportunity to work with you. You were very brave to have two Leesville High School Wampus Cats on this board at the same time, and very proud to be able to fulfill that service for Southwest Louisiana, where often it's not even thought of as an LSU community and parish, but I remind people all the time, not only our residency program that we have at Memorial Hospital in Lake Charles, but the very important ag programs that work all the way through over to the western part of the state, and that is a definite big impact that we do have business here in Baton Rouge, and all the undergraduates we send here, and all the doctors, teachers, attorneys, everyone who comes back to not only Calcasieu, but Vernon, and all those other parishes where there may not be an institution standing, but LSU reaches all across. So it's been a pleasure to fulfill shoes that I think you all thought I would fill her size 8 shoes. It's been a joy to get to know each of you because I've known you all through reputation and acquaintance before, but this has been a definite honor. I hope to be back, but if not, it's been one of the most important experiences I can take with me. Thank you.
Well, I don't think any of us even thought about you as an outgoing board member, so I think that
we don't know.
You're just getting your seat warm. So any other?
Stephen, I'll just add, and much has been said, but every board that serves here will have its unique set of challenges that it has to face over its tenure. But if you look back at the past 6 or 8 years, we've all talked about the switch in funding from 70% state support to 30% self-generated, to the opposite, where it's 30% or so that is state-funded and 70% self-generated. This board has had to work through that transition, one of the largest transitions that would ever happen in the state of Louisiana, and this board has had to guide and work with our administration to make that dramatic shift. And I think it's done so in a way that not just kind of kept things band-aided and stagnant, but has made some great progress along the way in spite of those tremendous challenges. And it's because of all of the guys that have been mentioned and that have put in tremendous time, not just in these meetings, but behind the scenes and working through the issues. And so just to all of you, it's been a great privilege to watch and learn and work with you all. And thank you so much for your service.
So thank everyone. Entertained. Mr. Anderson moves that we adjourn. Mr. Yarborough second. Hearing no objection, we stand adjourned until June 29th.
Yeah. Amen.